together with friends along the way, united with strength to face the day. We're together and now we're here to say, united we will be the change.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Above and Beyond the Accessibility and Inclusion podcast contest. I almost said we are counting down the 12 days.
Well, it is a contest.
It is a contest. We all
Will you
win.
be barrier free? Won't you be barrier free? The results aren't in yet. We've got 7 more days.
We have 7 days till Ontario becomes fully accessible and barrier free. 1, 2, 3. Yay!
Dun dun dun.
We did it. We survived the 20 years. Now, Maddie, we're talking day 7. We're talking about the design of public spaces. On the 7th day of the AODA becoming fully accessible and barrier-free, the Ford government did not give to me design of
the ability to go pee in every place.
Exactly. The ability to understand that, we're people too. We need to get around equitably and equally like everybody else. And the design of public spaces are so, I guess really the best way to say it is erratic at best.
Yeah, and I think the best I could say is challenging. So I tell this to people all the time. True accessibility means you have the ability to get to a place, get in a place, get around a place, and be able to go pee in an appropriate place in a place.
And I'll add to that, Maddie, accessing the service counter.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, yes.
There's a difference between integration and inclusion when it comes to a service counter.
Yeah.
Just don't have this cutout for somebody who, requires a wheelchair or a mobility device for a lower space. Make the entire space lower.
Yeah.
So that benefits everybody.
And
I feel like that's more condescending and drawing attention and labeling people with disabilities. That needs to change.
The biggest challenge I have with service desks is the damn interact machine. They tend to have it further back and fixed to an angle that is expecting people looking down on it. I can never see the screens of those. I need to be able to have it angled so that I can look at it straight. So you can't see my hand.
I mean, kind of similar to hotel accessories fixed on a shower wall.
Yeah, it's we have a hard enough time getting inside buildings. There's so I think we're going to be talking a lot about, because we both have physical disabilities. We both have mobility disabilities. There's so many other aspects, including vision, low vision, hearing, the invisible disabilities, cognitive disabilities, sensory challenges. There's so many things that, but the design of inside spaces needs to take account of these. The AODA was supposed to provide standards and regulations that would enable businesses and workspaces to be barrier free, especially in how the interior spaces work. The first challenge that we have is getting into that place. Not to mention the access, the transportation and to get to a place. But once we get in, right, we need to be able to get around. One recent we talked a little bit yesterday about the unintended consequences. Well, let me tell you one unintended consequence that came about from allowing or forcing beer and alcohol into convenience stores. Most convenience stores were tightly packed as it was, and it was a challenge to get in and around all of the aisles with my motorized wheelchair. Sometimes I could just get through an aisle. Doesn't mean I was able to easily see things because I couldn't change the direction of my wheelchair because I basically go straight ahead. So that was challenging enough before alcohol. After all the alcohol started coming in, the convenience stores had to get rid of some of their things to be able to make room for all this alcohol. But the alcohol took over, way more space than everything else existed. So there are the stores that have alcohol now. I cannot navigate. Maybe I can get from the door to the cash but I can't do anything else. First of all, the employees in these stores, we should not be harassing them. They hate it just as much as we do. It's
Yep.
made their lives hellish, but they're seeing the fact that some of their regulars are gone now because we can't get in there. We can't. Previously accessible space has been lost to us. This, the accommodation of, well, tell us what you want, we'll get it for you, isn't a valid accommodation. Because accommodations,
That's ableism.
when you're relying on accommodation, you haven't actually created accessibility, right? Accommodations can lead to accessibility, but accommodations on their own are not, because it's certainly not inclusion, right? And accessibility is a pathway to accessibility, and inclusion should go hand in hand. And accommodations can be the way of getting there, but you've got to go next level. So the problem that we have is that the AODA did not do like the job it was supposed to do in creating the environment where we're focusing on accommodation, we're focusing on accessibility as we're designing the universities. But when the government does things like this that undoes that possibility, yeah, the government has made it worse, not better. And it's something that, we should have a bigger voice, but it's just not being listened to.
Well,
It's being stifled.
100%. And I think it's important to know, Maddie, that throughout this 20 years of the AODA, it's been reviewed, I believe, 4 times.
Yeah,
You
three or
know,
four, yeah.
with 3 or 4 different advocates, allies, people that are highly distinguished, people with disabilities, and people who know. Getting back to your supermarket and your mall or your stores, you're right. Like, I mean, the addiction of alcohol, it is really significant in the impact to the companies and the store's bottom line, but diminishes inclusion. It takes and acts ableism, unintentional, of course, the unconscious bias of ableism. I understand it's well intended. People want to help out and so on and so forth. I talked about being at a local strip mall the other day where they didn't shovel the parking lot properly. I was stuck in patches of ice and snow and snowbanks. They couldn't get up ramps because they were not properly taken care of.
But you can just order from home. Come on.
Yeah, and have we ever taken the time to do a study of the difference in costs when it comes to ordering online versus going in store to pick it up?
Oh yeah.
Not to mention delivery.
Yeah, like there's delivery fees, there's the time factor, but also I have noticed sometimes some places they charge more per item if you order online than they do. Like something that's $5 in the store could be 5.50 or 6. It's nefarious. So yeah, you can just order online. No, actually, people, especially people in ODSP, ordering online, even if it's free delivery, isn't free at all, and it actually tends to cost more. For example, Walmart. Okay, so Walmart delivers. Yay. Okay. Freshco does not deliver. Boo. Freshco costs generally 10 to 20% less than Walmart. So yes, there are options for us. That's an accommodation. But if it costs more for us to use these accommodations, it's actually not an accommodation anymore. It's
Exactly.
it's a convenience that is available to other people, but it's not a convenience for us anymore.
No, no, because you talk about ODSP being as
Yep.
minimal as it is, and we've talked about that quite often. And I
We
talk about
should we
all the
should we
other
should
hidden
do
fees.
one day
Yeah.
just on ODSP, because we know it's not AODA, but come on, we can't not go through the 12 days of AODA without talking about the ODSP. Who are we?
Well, yeah. I mean, we have to talk about that as well.
Yes, the elephant in the room that's sinking into the abyss of a
That the elephant's trunk is getting larger and larger with all these lies that we've been fed through
yeah,
different types of promises.
yeah.
unkept is ignorance. And the fact that there's so many people are ignorant to the truth is problematic. There's a lot of disclaimers. There's a lot of, well, we're gonna do this. You got to be patient. Well, guess what? Time is up.
Yeah.
Like even you talk about the different ordering online versus picking up in the store. What about service fees? What about different types of added fees that are on the bill that people don't necessarily see? Like there's a GST, HST, the handling fee. There's a I'm going to get your stuff for you fee.
Back in my day, in my ute, if I
God,
ordered a pizza to be delivered, right, I paid the delivery guy a tip. That was the only difference between the pizza that I picked up and the pizza that got delivered, right? When I delivered pizza, you know, uh, 10, 15 years ago, whatever that was, oh my gosh, 10 years ago, I spent a year delivering pizzas, and I enjoyed it, until I had a career shattering injury.
Oh, that happened while you were delivering pizza.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the first one. Anyways, so like we only charged the delivery fee if it was outside a particular area. Other than that, it was you just basically you tipped. That was my fee. That's what I got for driving. But now there is a delivery fee. There is a system fee for using an online system, and all of these things are taxed, and then you're still paying the tip. And the tip, like 10% was a good tip, 10 years ago. Now a lot of places are expecting 18%, and the service hasn't changed, and the cost of all the food has increased. So you get all of these additional things. It's not a viable option for people with disabilities, especially those on ODSP. It's just not. And we went far away from design of indoor spaces. We sort of rambled today, but hey, it's all about the AODA, right? It's
Yeah.
all about the AODA, and these are the things that need to be considered, right? Yeah, it does, because if you can't get into indoor space, and the option you're giving us is delivery, or we can serve you outside the business,
Well, I mean,
it's actually creating it's the absolute opposite of accessibility.
100%. And there's even places, and I know we're kind of in and off the topic of the design of public spaces, but really this does become an intangible design of a public space. Let's take a particular sandwich shop, for example. Not going to name names. Starts with an S, ends with a Y, but I'm not naming any names.
Yeah, Sammy's stop. There we go.
Sammy's. Yes,
Yeah,
let's call
Sammy's.
Sammy's. Like you go to the store and they make the sandwich for you, and you go to pay for it. There's an option to tip.
I hate that. I hate that so much.
There's an
Because here's the thing, folks. It's all a lie. I have a daughter that works in retail, right? Tips don't go to the employee that served you. They may get a portion of it, but it goes to the business, and the business then decides how they're going to divvy it up. Don't tip retail because it does not go to who you think it goes to. Restaurants, yeah, the waitress is going to get a good portion of it, but she's also going to share some of it to the rest of the staff, and I'm fine with that. But what the hell is the point of doing this in retail? They're getting
It's part of their employment contract
yeah,
to be
yeah.
paid as an employee.
It doesn't help them. It does not help the retail folks in front of you. And I really hate when at restaurants they give you a suggestion tip thing and they start at 18%. I'm like, holy, like no, like I'm accepting the fact that 15% is a good tip. I don't like being forced into these decisions. But if you put 18% as an option, I'm gonna tip 13%, and I do this every single freaking time, unless the waitress or the waiter has done a phenomenal job. But even then, I'm only gonna do 15%. I will never tip 18%. Just A, I can't afford it. B, the world has gone wrong, and
Yeah.
this is one area like that. Like it used to be that you gave tips because they made less than minimum wage because there was a separate thing. That doesn't exist anymore. The minimum wage is the same, right? So they are getting paid more. So I'm not saying don't tip, but I'm saying think about who you're tipping and think about it.
Yeah,
Think about
exactly.
who's going to. And when in retail, it's only a slight bit, if anything, is going to the actual person who served you. That's in my
100%.
customer service notification for the day.
Thank you,
PSA,
Maddie.
yes, this is your public
And
service announcement.
that is it for
Wow, we
today.
burst way past 10 minutes.
Yeah, we really did it.
This is a supersized day 7 on the 7th day.
And the sixth day of the AODA. Oh, we went
Yes.
way over time on this one, but we had a lot to say on the design of public spaces, and we clearly accomplished that. Thanks
All
for
right.
listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Together with friends